All right, so here's the start of Alexa's drill. Now, it was first designed from my first real experiment, which was the lathe drill, which you'll see later. But a lathe, actually a primitive lathe, I should say, a primitive lathe would work from a spring pole. So if you don't know what a lathe is a block of wood between 2 points. Okay, so it spins on an axis, but it's spinning horizontally, laterally. Okay, what it has tied around it a cord, which goes to two places. One, it goes up to a spring pole. Okay, and the other part of the cord goes down to a foot pedal, or what's called a treadle. And so a person trying to turn a round piece of wood, okay, they would take a lathe tool, such as this one, and as the piece is spinning, so what the person is doing is stepping on this treadle, okay, this foot pedal, which pulls the cord. As the cord stores energy in the spring pole. So the person lets up on the pedal and the spring pole comes back up. Now, since the cord is tied around a piece of wood that's locked between 2 points, this block of wood would spin, okay, like this. And as the wood spins, he holds the tool and starts taking off pieces of wood, okay, which makes it round. A classic lathe product are things like baseball bats, chair legs, things like that. Okay, things that are round and cylindrical. All right. Now, so you'll see the lathe drill later, and how the design I kind of came up with that. Alexa's drill is based on that. However, what was the inspiration for this was obviously for both of them, Alexa's and Jacob's drill, was to get my children to be able to get their own fire. So that required a real balancing of all the variables, right? Especially stability, because they obviously can't hold sets together. Because at the time, my son was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, and my daughter was 4 years old. So right now they're both 9 and 6. So, so about 2 years ago, I had to figure out a way for my daughter to kind of get this going. Although I got my son to do it first, I believe. I'll have to look back on my records for that, but I think I got my son to do it first. And one day, we were changing the sheets on my daughter's bed, you know, pillowcases and all that stuff, and sheets, blankets. And she saw that her bed was completely clear, and she was jumping up and down on the bed. And all of a sudden, it was like an epiphany. That had to be the variation of energy. How energy was going to be translated into how her method was going to work. Okay, her jumping up and down. Because I believe at the time she was like 36, 38 pounds. Maybe a little more than that. So, around that kind of weight. I really can't remember. But I could see that would work. I could translate that energy. So I developed a contraption in my head made out of pine 2x3 studs, which I'll show you. And I had to do it in a way where this whole structure that I would create would not require a spring pole. Okay, so I was going to create it off the lathe variation, which I did before, so it was going to work that way, but it could not have a spring pull. So in doing my research, I found that someone had come up with a primitive lathe contraption, okay, with a treadle to do woodworking with, but it's called the pole-less lathe. So a pole-less lathe, the one that he created, worked on a bungee cord. So I got myself some bungee cords and a pulley wheel, and figured out how to translate her jumping energy into turning the lathe. So and it was very fun to create too. And the greatest thing about this whole thing is that it's pink, because that's my daughter's favorite color. So we had to paint it pink. And the other thing too, you'll notice it's covered in Hello Kitty stamps and all kinds of whatever she decided to draw all over it. I mean, it's hers. She could have fun with it in any way she wanted. So I'll bring it out for you. We're gonna watch her make that work. And just so you know, it's designed for a base to fit in the wall on the side, and the spindle reload is usually bamboo. So bamboo spindle reload, usually on Atlantic white cedar maybe for a base. But you'll see how it's put together. And since I'm not really going to speak through it, you're just going to hear a whole bunch of music. I'll have some explanations on there. And I think you'll get the idea, having been through the entire Primal Basic course, I should say, semester of understanding the variables. You should be able to see it now, kind of see it in your head, how it works. All right? So here's my daughter Alexa doing her contraption, Alexa's drill. Enjoy.